Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultant channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. I have a lot to give you today, so I'm going to move fast and deliberately. This video is to ask you to try to convince you to help me, because I'm not getting any help here in Minnesota at all. If you're not interested in helping me, please just stop the video, go watch a McSkillet or Mr. Beast, and I wish you the best. There's no point, because the only purpose I'm here for today is to try to convince you to help me to survive. Part one of this I'm going to call the Hand of God. I'm going to tell you what's been going on since the last video where my car died. At that time, when I had pulled out, I made a left turn and the transmission just went out completely. Now, since the parking brake doesn't work, that means all I had were my brakes. I couldn't stop the car from rolling. So I let off the gas. It was on a bit of a hill and it rolled backwards, and unbelievably the car behind me was not tailgating. They were back about 20 feet, so I could actually turn and back up where I had come from, although I was in the wrong lane this time. And it went from a relatively small incline up a bigger incline, and by my understanding of the laws of physics, that isn't possible. And yet the car did it. And that to me is the hand of God. And I was able to put one of those, what do you call them, clocks or glocks or whatever, under my wheel to stop the car from rolling and call a tow truck. Next, my insurance company towed the car further than they usually will. They normally tow it to the nearest service station. They actually towed it to my mechanics. That means I can obviously actually stay in the car. That to me is the hand of God. Now, the problem is, I'm in a very hostile area. Very hostile. You've probably seen before at my mechanics, there is a tattoo place next door, and the guys there are not exactly fans of homeless people. And I don't even know if it's just homeless people or just anybody who's around who they think is looking at them. These guys have their faces and arms and everything covered in tattoos. They basically stand outside their place and smoke and vape all day, every day. And yet they've got what appear to be $50,000, $70,000 cars. The cars that they drive are indistinguishable from the cars in Jay Leno's garage. And since I never really see anybody actually going in to get a tattoo, I'm sure some do, either painting tattoos on people really pays well, or these guys are making money from some other source. There's nothing worse to me than bearing false witness against your neighbor. I'm trying to walk this balanced line, but you know what I have seen over the last 7 years. You know what I have filmed in terms of drug deals. You know what I've observed about the behavior of people who engage in that kind of behavior. Well, if you're dealing something like that and you're using those kinds of drugs, they make you very paranoid. I am here all the time over the last several years because the car has to be repaired all the time over the past several years. So these guys do not like me, whether it's because I'm homeless or because they feel like I'm watching them, observing them, and they're paranoid. I don't know, but they do not like me, and I am terrified being anywhere near these people. They circle around like sharks. They're always coming out to when they drive by, they drive real slow and they do the turn the head, where you're driving this way, where the small child's running in front of your giant $70,000 car, but you're looking that way because it's more important to you to just stare down the homeless guy. One of them almost ran me over yesterday, and I mean, seriously. I would probably count that among the hand of God as well. I might not be here right now. He almost ran me over when I was walking down from here, recognized me, and flipped me off. Stuck his hand out the window and flipped me off as he drove away. These are not good people. These are bad people. They look like good old boys, But in the South, good old boys would see that someone has a problem, and they would go over and find out what the problem is, and they would get on their phones and they'd call their friends, and the good old boys would get the problem fixed just like that. And I would have another car, and I would already be at work. But these aren't good old boys. If you want to know what they are, my recommendation, again, I can't say for sure, and I do not want to bear false witness against anyone. But I say watch an episode of Breaking Bad and then go visit your local high school and then put 2 plus 2 together. And you'll know what I've got surrounding me here. They do not want me here. And I can't go anywhere. The car will not drive. It will start, but there's no transmission. And there never will be. The car's too rusted on the bottom for it to be fixed. Nobody will put it on a lift. And even if they could, it's 10 hours of labor to fix that clutch. And there could be something wrong after that. The car can't be fixed. It's dead. And if I don't get help, I will be dead. So I'm completely immobilized in this car. I cannot move from the spot. The tow truck dropped it off on an anthill. So not only do I have all the flies because I smell, I haven't had a shower in 2 weeks now, but I'm on an anthill, so I'm constantly flicking off ants. I can't look for cars. I have no internet access. The only thing I can do at my mechanic's place, I can stand up outside with a computer in my hand, but there's nowhere, unless I lay a computer on someone's car, there's nowhere to, and my body's in such bad shape from sitting for 7 years straight that if I sit on the ground, I almost can't get up. I mean, I have to roll, and I can't do it. This arm's shot, so I can't push myself up. I can't get off the ground if I'm sitting on the ground. Unlike when I bought this car, which was off Craigslist, and back then Craigslist was legitimate, and you could find small car dealerships who dealt in low-cost cars like this. That's gone. Craigslist is just filled with scams and junk now. You know, no credit, bad credit, you know, all this kind of stuff. You can't find anything. Everything's on Facebook now. I'm not on Facebook. Facebook is extremely dangerous, and I've never been on Facebook. I cannot get to my storage facility. It's about 3 to 4 miles away. I could get there in theory. I could walk there, but not if I'm carrying anything. Because, folks, it has been like 90 degrees every single day with the sun just bearing down on me. Yesterday, it was much hotter. It was well into the 90s. The heat index, they said, was 106 to 109 degrees, which means in this car it was probably about 120 to 130 degrees. And I can't even tell you how miserable yesterday was. Last night, overnight, until it stormed, it was probably still over 100 degrees in this car. And it only stormed briefly. So I can't sell things. You know, if things in storage, I don't have transport to get them to storage. Okay, sorry about that. That was a call from the woman I'll tell you about here in a moment. So I think I mentioned I'm running out of gas in the car. That's what I need to charge up the devices here. My very first night here, the police stopped by. They actually didn't have to do that. I was awake. But with the flashers going and everything, watch my video to the Burnsville City Council. Very nice officer, wonderful guy. You know, just doing their job. But the thing is, that's the way it's set up. You know, someone sitting in their car is a threat, but you know, having an entire community that just leaves their neighbors out to die, that's not a threat. Having these cars driving around racing, that's not a threat. But someone just sitting in their car has to be investigated. Very nice officer, though. The PD should be proud to have him. My mechanic has basically turned on me. I think a lot of it is that he's very embarrassed, but when I first came here after work last week, he made me wait 2 days, and then he fixed the wrong thing. He replaced a drive shaft when the problem was the transmission. So I think he's very embarrassed, and he's taking it out on me, which I don't need that kind of, you know, psycho stuff going on right now. I don't need it. He's been nothing but helpful to me all along. But between that and the fact that these tattoo guys seem to be giving him the business about me being here at all, he's... Plus, the guy who owns the property here, not only is he osteophobic, but he's racist. So my poor mechanic, being from, Africa, he takes all kinds of abuse, and he carries all the burden of this place. He's probably paying the utilities for all the other businesses here. He's gotten screwed left and right himself by this racist Minnesotan who owns the property itself. So he's not in a good position to help, and I've been trying to just stay out of his way. I finally did get the phone obviously up and running. The phone is running, so I can accept PayPal donations now. I can receive them, and I'm asking for them. I have probably walked, I have no pedometer, but probably 25 miles or more, and it's not been easy, folks. When I was out on one of those walks, the sole came off my shoe. So I am walking around in these sandals on this hard, hot pavement, and I gotta show you what my feet look like. This is not good. My feet hurt so badly I can't even describe it. Where'd my glasses go? Alright. Since I haven't had a shower, I smell terrible, so anywhere I go, not only do I smell like this horrible sweat and dirt, but I've been bleeding excessively because I'm stuck in this heat and I can't dress the wounds or do anything with it. All of those blood clots and everything in my legs. So blood is the smell of death. So when I walk into a business, I smell like sweat, dirt and grime, and death. And it's not helping me. I am a great distance from anything. There's a convenience store, but I have to cross a highway and I have to do it with no pedestrian walkway, which means I basically have to walk on a very busy road on a curve with these maniacs out here with no sidewalk or anything. And then I have to walk through tall brush filled with snakes and everything. Only thing I have to drink is from that convenience store. I've been taking these big jug bottles of water and a lot of salty snacks, crackers, potato chips. Very few real meals. I've had no response from the Burnsville City Council. I sent them that video, and I actually sent them a link to the last video I had, the 1-minute one that showed me being stranded. Not one of the city council members has even written back at all, even acknowledged my existence. And yet, one of the walks I took was it's about 2.5 miles each way, so 5 miles total, to a church. I know, that's how desperate I am. On the way to the church, about halfway there, when I was just crawling and sweating, I couldn't even see. But I could see the sign that was on the road that I had to walk past, asking us to re-elect one of the members of that city council. You can't make this up. When I got to the church, I got the usual treatment. Big, huge church filled with people. If everyone in there donated $1, I would be really well off right now. But instead, when I walked in and I was just dripping and I couldn't even wipe away the water because my hands were so wet, and I was just salt in my eyes, hair all just they didn't say, "Oh my gosh, what is wrong? What happened? Sit down. Let's help." They were just like, "Oh no." You could just see it in their face. They're like, "Oh great, look what we got to deal with now." They were so useless. I just ended up turning around and walking away. It was a Lutheran church. But they did add one piece of trauma to my life. You recall, one of the things that haunts me, that it will haunt me for the rest of my life, is the first church I went to for help when I was trying to avoid becoming homeless. And the pastor there said, "Maybe we'll see your stuff on Storage Wars," which was just evil. When I went into this place, I said, "Look, my car's disabled. It's destroyed. It can't run ever again. I need help. You know, I'm stuck sleeping in this car that can't run. I need help." And the first thing out of that woman's mouth was, "Oh, and it's going to be in the high 90s this week too." Which is her way of saying, you're going to be stuck in the high 90s because we're not doing a darn thing for you. Folks, the churches out here, according to my understanding of the Bible, the members of these churches out here are in great peril of having their souls damned for all eternity. These are not churches, these are social clubs. This is no different than going to a Masonic temple or a Knights Templar or the Manson family or Scientology. These are social clubs. They have nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing. And for them to insult Jesus Christ, who died for them like that, I don't see how that's going to end well on Judgment Day. These people did not instinctively think, how can I help this person in need? They instinctively thought, oh no, how can we get rid of this guy tactfully? They are damned. I paid my bills. I'm the homeless guy who's in this situation, approaching death if I don't get some help, and yet I paid my bills on the first of the month. That's what drained my account so much. It's called being responsible. And for 7 years, I've done everything I can to be responsible. But it leaves me with nothing. A taxi to get to work would cost me more than the amount I earn in that day for a round trip. Uber as well. I got an email from a homeless woman. Her battery was dead. This is an older woman, probably 10 years older than me. She can't even walk. She's been in her car for only 3 years, but she never gets to leave her car. When she steps out, she's just can barely move at all. She was stuck at the library. Look at my recent video, A Summary of Minnesota Nice. Same library. Her battery died on her car. She went into the library for help, and they did not help her. They said they have no jumper cables. As this person who is helping me out right now can testify, when I emptied my car yesterday, this homeless person has 2 sets of jumper cables and a portable battery pack jump starter in my car. And I'm homeless. And you're telling me that not one person in that library had a jumper cable in their car. They left that old woman out there for 14 hours until another homeless person jumped her car. Shame on you at the Burnsville Library, every one of you. You did that to me when my car died out there, and now you did it to an old woman. Shame on you people. You monsters. 14 hours. She couldn't go to the bathroom. She couldn't get food. Shame on you. Burnsville Library and Department of Motor Vehicles in that same building. Shame on every one of you. Just shameful. No one has jumper cables. Right. You even lied to her. You monsters. When she got up and running, she came over to visit me. Her car is full of stuff like mine, so she can't take a passenger. She brought me something that cost $1 at the dollar store that has been a lifesaver. Something that none of the people, all these house people, social services and everything else never gave me. It's this. This $1 blind to put up on my windshield. Do you see what's behind it? An extremely hot sun. This little $1 thing has done more to make my life even remotely, not even tolerable, but survivable. And it came from a homeless woman who had just been stranded in her car for 14 hours because no one at the library or the Department of Motor Vehicles would help her. And in fact, they just lie to her and say that they don't have the tools they need to help her. You monsters. You. The only bright spot I have found here is that, as I was saying a moment ago, I have found one person who is trying her level best to help me. She's part of an organization that I believe is not government funded, so it's legit. But the problem is, as she's gone through the cycle, she's encountered the exact same thing I have. She's confirmed everything I've said for 7 years. I don't qualify for anything. I'm white, I'm male, I'm well educated, I'm hardworking, I have a job, I'm sane, I'm sober. I don't have children. I'm not a military veteran. I don't qualify for anything. Give you one example. There's a program out there that gives vouchers for transportation for people to get to work, but it's only for when you're starting a new job. I've had the job for 6 years. I'm trying to keep the job. I need to get out there, but I don't qualify because it isn't a brand new job. And they can't wiggle that in any way. They have to go according to their procedures. So I'm being penalized because I was responsible enough to get a job. Most of the housed people out there don't keep a job for 6 years, the same job. But I don't have access. So any of the social services, any of the programs out there, I don't qualify for. And she's figuring that out, and I think she's finally kind of waking up herself. Anybody who follows my story and looks into it and investigates it comes to the same conclusion. Paul, you're absolutely right. And they figure out that this social service is a total scam. Whenever I call someone like the police or anyone else, immediately they pull out the little pamphlet, 360 communities. You know, round Minnesota, round and round and round, ending up nowhere services. I can't do that. It's a waste of time. That's what destroyed my first year of being homeless, where I sold off everything that I'd spent my life working to earn, waiting for social services to do something while they just spun me around in circles, telling me they can't help at every turn, but using the fact that I asked them for help to get more funding for themselves the next year. These people are sick. These people are deranged. Social services. And it's one of the biggest parts of the Minnesota budget. Every person in Minnesota, 5.5 million people, they should be taking my story seriously because I'm exposing how much of their tax dollars are being wasted. But they don't care. They don't care. They don't even care about themselves. How are they going to care about another person? But I will say this woman, wow. I mean, she is so sincerely, genuinely understanding of what I'm going through, and she's out there beating the pavement like I am, trying everything she can. God bless her. I mean, she's fantastic, and like I said, I'm always fair about things. I tell the truth. I tell the way it is. Folks, this woman is a native Minnesotan. I've said all along, not every Minnesotan is a bad person. I said that the state is dominated and region is dominated by the cult of Minnesota Nice, which is deadly. It's a deadly cult. But not every Minnesotan is a bad person. Here's a perfect example of it. She's wonderful. God bless her. I had a lead on a car that I could afford for $1,000. Well, kind of afford. I mean, I could probably figure out a way to get it. I spent 2 days on that, and the guy turned out to be a total flake. There wasn't really a car after all. What a waste of time. What a waste of time. I can't find anybody out there who says, my God, your situation is life-threatening. This is horrible. You are suffering in ways that people in third world nations do not suffer. Let's find you a car. There's people all over the place who want to sell a car for $400, $500, $800. Let's find one of these and get you a car so you can get back to work. But nobody can do that. This woman's trying to do something like that, but she's trying to go through the channels because she's part of that non-government funded social service. Or not even social service, just an agency that assists. Through all of this, the psycho stalker who sabotages my YouTube channel, and I have all the screen caps and everything to show this, when I did that flood of videos at the end of last week after not posting anything for 2 months, within 5 minutes of each video, this lunatic, this psycho bird, went in and put a thumbs down on the video. Even if the video is an hour and a half long, like my Jay Leno video, or 27 minutes long, like the one for the Burnsville City Council. This lunatic goes in and puts a thumbs down on my videos, day or night, no matter what time of the day or night. They apparently have some kind of notification on their phone, so if I post a video at 3 in the morning, it wakes them up, and for some reason they feel compelled to log in immediately and to put a thumbs down on my video. And when they do that, because they're not watching the videos, the view of the video is only like 10 seconds long, and that is the main metric that YouTube uses to analyze your videos. The length of how long are people watching your video. Are they watching it all the way through, or are they leaving early? YouTube should require people to watch, say, 20 or 25% of a video before they're even allowed to put a thumbs down on a video. But YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube lets a psycho like this just log in and throw a thumbs down on all 5 of my videos. Bam, 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 bam. And then go back to sleep. All done in less than 10 minutes. And meanwhile, all the work I put into those videos is annihilated because of this. I'm getting offers for help from people in other states. Not Minnesota, but other states. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. I love you. But the problem is, having a psycho stalker like this, and I've got others because I'm visible on YouTube and such, I have to be very, very cautious of how much I communicate with people I don't know. And I hope those of you offering me things from out of state understand that. I'm not trying to avoid taking help where it's there, but I have to watch out, because this loony bird who is sabotaging my channel, this guy could be a serial killer for all I know. He's clearly insane. And I don't know who it is. It could be any one of these people who's asking if they can help me. So the only help I can really accept that makes any sense from a safety and security standpoint is just donations to my PayPal. I can't take up offers to just move to another state, you know. Who knows what's going to be there when I get there. Alright, part 2 of this is I'm calling Grand Theft Wages. This is about my employer, folks. I don't talk about my employer, but I'm going to talk about him a bit here. If you remember my 50 existential threats to America, things that are threats to the very existence of the United States of America as we know it. One of them was corporate inhumanity / human resources. The company I work for is the most unethical and immoral place I have ever worked in my life. The management there are demons from hell. They screw over their customers, they screw over their employees, and they more or less require us to do things that are unethical and to lie. And I hate it. But I've had to work there for 6 years. There are aspects of this job that I really love, that are actually, I love more than any other place I've ever worked. Until you consider the management there. This Minnesota company. Folks, this is the kind of thing where if you had a legitimate government oversight agency of employment practices, somebody would look into this and fix this problem, instead of allowing a company like that to exploit people like me. I'll give you a quick example here. Let's say that I was hired to do this job, okay? There were other people who were hired to do this job. The people who do this job get bonuses to such an extent that they're out buying houses. They make 4 or 5 times as much money as I do, probably. I don't know. But they're out buying houses, doing this job. I was hired to do this job. After I got hired, they ended up having me do this job, and this job, and this job. Such that, at this point, even though I was hired to do this job, I only do this and this about 50% of the time, and the other 1/2 of the time I'm there, I do this job. But I don't get the bonuses. So those people who doing this job are given so many bonuses that it's like 4 or 5 times as much as I make, and they're able to go out and buy in houses because they classify me as doing this job, but they have me actually doing this job. I don't get any of the bonuses. Now, not only that, but amongst the group of us who are stuck in this stupid situation where we have to do all 3 of these jobs and we get no bonuses for doing this, the company encourages a divide and conquer strategy. The way that they maintain this lunacy is they try to get us against each other to steal credit for what we're doing. And they give us this tiny little just cracker, this itty bitty bonus, like $100 a month minus taxes at the end of the month, but only if you're in the top 5 according to their metrics. If you don't get it at the end of that month, then it's another month later before you can fight to get that $100. Whereas the people who are doing this, they're getting the $100 every day in bonuses. If I was paid for what I'm actually doing, folks, I would be able to buy my own house instead of dying living in a car because they classify me as doing this job. I haven't told you these things, what's going on at work, but folks, these people are disgusting. I am so desperate. One guy got hired in there, and he left after a month. He had a lot of savings. He was set. He had a place to stay. I had just asked him casually as we were leaving once, why are you leaving? And he just went off on the longest rant. He was just how this management is the most evil thing he's ever encountered. They're just utterly incompetent, just vicious. You couldn't stop him, and yet everything he said was articulate and accurate. This is what I've had to do to survive, is to take that kind of humiliation. I am in such... I'll give you one more example. I don't get sick. I've told you that. I don't get sick. I haven't gotten sick since I stopped using our corrupt healthcare system 30 years ago. My body's falling apart. That's not a matter of sickness. That's a matter of just chemistry and biology, being stuck in this situation. I have health insurance at work, though, just in case I have a heart attack or need it. I don't know how to use it. I don't have the cards. I don't have the foggiest idea how I would ever use my health care if I needed it. But I have it. They are charging me an extra $500 as a surcharge because I refuse to go and get a health screening, as they call it. Preventative medicine. The reason I don't get a health screening is because I haven't been sick in 30 years, partially because I don't go where sick people congregate, which is where you go to get a health screening. If I don't go where sick people are, I'm not going to pick up their sickness. The other reason is because even doctors themselves, look on the internet, even doctors themselves tell you that these screenings are notorious for false positives. So what you end up with is you go in for this screening, you catch the flu, and then they tell you have prostate cancer when you don't, and then you go in and you get treated for prostate cancer. In the end, it costs a tremendous amount of money. But these healthcare systems are so corrupt to the core that they pressure employers to force people to do that. I'm not playing that game. So they're charging me $500 as a surcharge because I won't go and put myself through that circus. I have never used their healthcare. I haven't cost them a dime. I've never taken a day off work for health reasons like that. Now, if that was a legitimate thing, what they would do is they would deduct $500 from all those people who do get the screening. That makes logical, rational sense if they're telling the truth. But they know it's a fraud. They know it's a farce. I mean, the healthcare people. My employer, I don't think they're smart enough to figure it out. They've got their consultants who tell them what to do. But consultants are often shills. That's why you get the real deal on the Homeless Consultant channel. I'm beholden to nobody. I tell you the truth about what's going on out here. So they steal $500 a year from me for that. I mean, it's just sickness every which way to Sunday with this job. And yet I need the job. I'm so desperate, folks. I broke down and I told my employer, who didn't know, for 6 years working in a professional environment, that I've been homeless and living in a car. I told them, and I asked them to help me. The help I asked for was pretty minimal. For example, I cannot rent a car, because the only way I can rent a car is if I show a utility bill from my home. I don't have a home. So I asked the company, can you rent a car on your corporate account, put me as a designated driver, and deduct the cost from my paycheck? It won't cost you a penny. It just gets around that bureaucratic situation that is discriminatory against the homeless, where homeless people can't rent a car. The answer I got from my employer, I will paraphrase thusly: we will send flowers to your funeral. The only thing they offered me is if I can get into work, I can have as much overtime as I want. Wow! Beautiful. So if I can get into this ridiculous job that exploits and abuses me as much as it has all these years, I can work extra hours and get exploited and abused even more. A Minnesota company. Folks, the way you get things done in this world is through the corporate entity, not collectivism. Collectivism is a farce. Communism, socialism, that can't work. I'm talking about the corporate entity, where people who have small resources pool those resources and create something that has power. No one person is going to go to the moon or go to Mars, no matter what Elon Musk thinks, no matter how much money he has. People are pooling resources. We went to the moon because everyone pooled their resources under this banner of NASA and other corporate entities. Folks, the only way I'm going to get help here is if you help become part of a corporate entity. If you donate and help me through PayPal, I don't care if it's $1, $5, $10. If you can give me more, please do. But I need it, and I need you to all do it at roughly the same time. And I need to be able to get a car so I can get to that ridiculous, abusive job. I want to show you the vehicle that's coming up behind here. This is one of these people right there. See how slow he's going? How do you get a car like that? By basically mutilating people's bodies. How in the world does that happen? That's one of those people. How do you get a car like that when you're not even working? When you're just standing outside smoking and vaping all day? Hey, what do I know? What do I know? I've been working for a living for 6 years, and look what I've got for a vehicle. Personally, I think they're getting their money from another source. And I need money from another source. I need money. I need help from you. And even if you can only donate $1, I'm asking you to do it. And when you do it, please put a note in the PayPal and tell me where you're from. I want to know where you're from. And I want Minnesota to know where you're from, because the only offers of help I'm getting are from outside Minnesota. And I want to know. I want to know who gave me money to help me, who cared enough to do something to try to help me. And folks, I don't like making promises I don't know I can keep. I don't know, but as a rule, anyone who helps me in that manner, I tend to pay back. So don't be surprised at all, and don't refuse it, please, if I do pay you back. It's going to depend on whether I can get back on my feet. But if I can, anyone who donates to me through here, I will do everything I can to pay you back, and you will be out nothing ultimately. But again, I can't promise because I can't see the future. I don't have a crystal ball. This is the only solution I have, folks, is for you to help me. But if you can help me by using your own corporate entity, talk to your family, talk to your friends, Talk to your coworkers. Show them what is going on here. Show them the horrible injustice of what is happening here. What has happened to me over 7 years in this state of Minnesota. Let them know what Minnesota is really about and ask them, will each of you put in $1? Go to my 5 family members and my 10 friends, and we got $16, and I'll send that to Paul. I don't know what else to do. Please contact your local media, your newspaper. Talk to a reporter. Try to talk to them and say, look, I got a story for you. The state of Minnesota, here comes another one. Here comes another one. Look at that. How in the world do you get a vehicle like that when you just stand outside a tattoo parlor smoking and vaping all day? How? Everyone who works there is driving a vehicle like that. How is that possible? Go to your local media. Go to your television stations, but talk to somebody, please. Ask to speak to a reporter and say, look, I've got a story for you. This guy for 7 years has been screwed over completely. The state of Minnesota it's almost as if the state of Minnesota has been deliberately trying to kill this guy. They will not help him in any way, shape, or form. And yet he's responsible, he's sober, he's sane, he works hard, he's been at his job longer than most people are at a job. And he's losing his voice. Please go to your local media. The media in Minnesota isn't going to touch this. Shame Minnesota from outside Minnesota. Let's have some news reporters in Florida point out what Minnesota nice really is. Let's have some people in Oklahoma or in Colorado. Let's have them. Let's have their reporters report on what Minnesota is doing, because it's the only way the world's going to find out. Folks, I'm being murdered by Minnesota. Please help me. These guys in this tattoo place, they're going to kill me. I actually called the police and told them, if I'm found dead in this car, they are the first place to look. I don't just do that willy-nilly. That is not the kind of thing I do. That's how seriously I fear these creepy weirdos at this tattoo place. And again, one of them tried to run me over yesterday. He didn't really try. He was trying to play run me over. The problem is I had heat stroke at the time. I had just collapsed on the pavement right before that. And if I had collapsed again, the kid would have ran me right over. And I wouldn't have lived long enough to see him flip me off as he's driving down the road. That's one of those tattoo people. That's what I'm surrounded by in this car that won't move. That's Minnesota nice. In the South, in Alabama, Mississippi, in the South, Louisiana, the good old boys wouldn't act like these idiot tattoo people here. They would get together and get the job done. But I'm not in the South. I'm in Minnesota. I'm asking for your help, folks. I'm begging for your help. Please help me. These guys are so dangerous. If a tornado struck out here in Minnesota, for a day or two, everyone would be out there trying to help them. They would be getting money, going to their church. Everyone in the church would donate $1 and you'd have $1,000. They'd be helping everybody they could. And the whole time they do it, they'd be looking around for the news cameras so they can be seen doing it. And then as soon as that's no longer a story, 2 or 3 days later, no help. No more help from those people. And the number of homeless Americans just went up. Natural disaster is one of the biggest reasons for homelessness in America. 1% of the population of America, 1 out of 100 people, has no home. When is somebody going to take this seriously? Folks, I can get another car. I can, but I have to move fast. I've gotten nowhere with these people here, and I've had nothing but slowdowns. From my mechanic wasting 2 days to that flake over there wasting 2 days about a car that doesn't exist. I need help, and I need it now. If I can get my hands on a car, even a beater, it doesn't matter. I'm back to this horrible job but at least I can make money again, and I won't lose it. Shame on Minnesota churches for looking at me as a burden when I walk in the door instead of looking at me as a privilege. You have the privilege of saving another person's life, but you look at it as a burden. Minnesota churches. Shame on the Burnsville Library Department of Motor Vehicles for letting an old woman sit outside for 14 hours in this. No water, no way to go to the bathroom. My God. Please, folks, pool your resources. Go out and ask everyone you know, this guy needs help and this guy is legit. He's documented it online for 6 years. How much more can I do to prove that I'm legit? This is not like a GoFundMe that just came out of the clear blue sky and you don't know who it is. This is the real deal. Please, help me. Help me to save myself from these tattoo guys. Because these guys are going to slit my throat or set this car on fire. I put my email address in the description here, hc.paulb@gmail.com. I can access PayPal donations now. I got the phone working. I can. Please donate and save my life. We'll clear up everything else later, all right? As far as who I can pay back, how I can pay back, when. Please, let us deal with that later. Let's get the job done. Let's show Minnesota how the rest of the country gets things done. And I know you out there are able and willing to help. The biggest problem of all is that because I've been sabotaged for 6 years, I don't have 13,000 people watching this channel. That's how it would get done. I have 250 subscribers and maybe 50 or 100 people who watch videos. I'm relying on you. I need you to help me, please. Go get a few bucks from everybody you know and send it to me. We can figure out the rest later, but please, save my life, Minnesota, and my employer, and these tattoo creeps will take my life if you don't help me. God bless you in advance. Thank you so much. I'll be back when I'm able.